update on the overdose with the 3 teenagers, the 15, the 18, and 19-year-old. We have an arrest warrant that was issued for the owner of the home. There's kind of a lot of pieces with this, but obviously the call started off with it was a medical call, and detectives, well, officers on scene, they ended up finding some items related to drugs. The detectives were able to get a search warrant of the house and found there was a couple of bags of heroin. One of them was 15.9 grams, the other was 3.6 grams, at a total of 19.5 grams of heroin. There was also at least 2 bags of cocaine. The 2 bags totaled 74 grams. One was 44 and the other was 29. And then there was also 3 other bags of some unknown powder. I think the detectives believe it may be cocaine, but we'll have to do some testing on that. There was also 4 different scales, quite a few different items that had drug residue on them as well. I don't have an update on the condition of the teenagers. The last we heard that they were still alive, but we haven't been getting any updates from the hospital. We still are waiting for hospital records to find out what drug they ingested. But in the meantime, the owner of the home, there was an arrest warrant issued for Sonny Marie Heminger. Sonny is S-O-N-N-I, Marie M-A-R-I-E. Heminger is H-E-M-I-N-G-E-R. She is 34 years old. The warrant is for distribution of controlled substance, drug-free zone violation, possession of a controlled substance, and maintaining a place where drugs are kept or sold. That warrant carries a $50,000 cash bond. One of the reasons in the delay of, I guess, withholding this information was to, first of all, try to locate her, and then to give the detectives time to try to do some follow-up. We haven't found her yet. We've checked the area. We're not sure. Initially, when the first medical call came out when the overdose happened, she was out of the state. We're not sure if she's returned yet or if she's still in other states. But obviously, we believe that she's responsible for the drugs inside that home. That's why the warrant was issued. And we're hoping to find her soon, and then hopefully that'll lead some more down the road. But at this point in time, really, that's all the updates that we have as far as that.
One more time, the amounts of heroin.
Yep, the 2 bags, 15.9 grams and 3.6 grams. The total, 19.5 grams. Cocaine, it was actually 44.9 and then 29.1, but the total of 74 grams.
Specifically heroin, you don't, I mean, that amount, is that unique? Like, do you see that amount typically? Because
well, when we're talking about distribution, that's, I would say that's, I don't know what a normal amount is, but it's not surprising to see that amount. If we're talking like use, we're probably talking a small amount, maybe a gram or less. So having the distribution charge and then having that amount of heroin, it's not really surprising. One of the things that we've seen over the last few years is more heroin that's coming into Sioux Falls. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I want to say it was probably about 4 years ago we were seeing a very small amount, like probably less than 10 grams of heroin that were seized a year. That has just steadily gone up over the last few years, and so we've seen an increase here. It's really nothing more than what other places in the country have seen. They've seen an increase in heroin usage and the amount that law enforcement is seizing. And it's taken some time, but it's starting to come here in Sioux Falls, and that's one of the drugs that seems to be on the uptick. We're still well below the amount of marijuana and meth that we've been seizing, but we can see that trend has been increasing, at least with heroin.
Do you have a photo of her?
I don't. You'd have to check with the sheriff's office.
It's concerning that heroin is on the rise. Excuse me, heroin is on the rise.
It is, and like I said, this isn't anything new to Sioux Falls. It is new to Sioux Falls, but not new to the rest of the country. We've seen other places in the country that have been hit hard by the opioid addiction. They've seen a lot of increases in heroin, a lot of deaths that come with that as well. Like I said, it's taken time, but that addiction, that drug has found its way to Sioux Falls, and the last couple of years we've seen a pretty dramatic increase in it. Like I said, it's still well below the amount of meth and marijuana that we see, but heroin has been steadily increasing over the last few years.
So going off the initial report, you said one of the teenagers, the 19-year-old, registered at the same address as that household.
Right.
So if Sonny is a distributor, then it's basically they got into her supply possibly on purpose?
That we don't know. It certainly seems that they were able to get hold of some drugs. We don't know if it was drugs that came from that home or if they got hold of drugs from another source. That's one of the questions, I guess, that we don't know. It seems likely that they probably got into the drugs that were inside that home, but we'll have to wait and see.
Where were they found, do you know? I mean, were they hidden in a safe or were they just in the cupboard?
Yeah, let's see, this doesn't say, it just says they were found inside the home. Okay. Looks like all of the heroin and cocaine and the other unknown drug, I guess, it's suspected to be cocaine, they were all found in a bedroom closet. And I don't have any other details on that, so I don't know if it was in a locked safe or if it was just inside the closet, or, yeah, that I don't know.
Were the drugs found when the police responded to the overdose, or was that in a search warrant that was served?
Let's see. I don't know if I can find it now, but I think they found some object that had some residue on it.
When they came for the overdose?
For the overdose call, yeah. Yeah, there was in one of the bathrooms there was something that had some white powder on it. They field tested it. It came back as positive for cocaine. And then they were able to get a search warrant and then found the other drugs inside the home and all the other paraphernalia that goes with it.
But that wouldn't be unusual for 3 girls that have overdosed to find paraphernalia that has drug use on it that was in that home.
Right.
Correct? Yeah. And they just looked a little further.
Yeah, and I mean, that's why they got a search warrant, or I guess they applied for the search warrant. And what they, in a situation like that, they're going to lay out really what happened. We were called to a house for an overdose. The victims were taken to the hospital. Everything appeared to be an overdose. Found some items inside the house that had drug residue on it. They present that information to the judge, and then the judge decides if there's probable cause to believe that there could be more drug or drug-related items inside the home. In this case, the judge granted the search warrant, and the detectives found the other drugs in the bedroom.
Did you say they were all girls?
Yes.
All right. Now a gray area that you may not be able to answer, but so we have as it was laid out, I recall it was 5 kids, 12 and under, that
Yep.
at least one was babysitting.
Yes.
Is this Sunny the mother
I guess I don't know, she is mom, I don't know if she's mom to all of the kids or some of the kids. That I can't tell you if it was all of them or just one or two, that I don't know. But she lived at that house, and she is the mother to at least some of those children.
But she's been out of town. She was out of town, she wasn't present. And
Right.
Had a 19,
She was,
18,
yep.
and 15-year-old there. Tell me, you know where I'm going at here. And so she'd been out of town for a while, and those kids.
It was, I think the 19-year-old was the one that was watching the children at the house. The 15-year-old and the 18-year-old, I don't know if they were friends, or I'm guessing they were friends and just came over. I don't know that they had necessarily been staying there and watching, but I believe it was the 19-year-old that was in charge. When the overdose happened, mom was in a different state, and as far as we know, she just hasn't come back. The kids were obviously taken out of that home, and then they were turned over to other relatives.
How many kids were in there at the time?
5. Well, you had the 3 older ones that overdosed, and then there were 5 younger children.
So 8 total.
Yeah. Well, 2 of them are adults, I guess, the 18 and 19-year-old, but
And no charges against those at the moment? The 19 and 18?
that I guess I don't know. Yeah, I mean, certainly there's ingesting comes to mind, which is a misdemeanor. If we're still waiting on the hospital records, so we still haven't received those yet. And then, so once those come back from that subpoena, if it shows that they ingested, cocaine or heroin or both or a different drug, then they could likely face some possession charges themselves. But at this point in time, the only thing I could think of would be ingesting. I don't know that they have been charged with anything.
Would they receive engagement of 5 counts of engagement of minors or anything like that?
There's always a chance for something else, but at this point in time, any decision, I guess, along those lines about what type of charges and which specific ones would be made by the state's attorney's office. The main thing was getting them to the hospital and making sure that they were going to be okay.
Do you know what's become of the 5, 12, and unders?
I don't. Once they were turned over to relatives, then we don't do any follow-up with that. There's a chance maybe social services would check with them, but that I guess I don't know for sure.